Keto Diet and Carb Cycling, Which One to Choose, by Ali Butterfly. Narrated by Preston Hardin. Archaeology is demolishing another sacred belief, that human history over the past million years has been a long tale of progress. In particular, recent discoveries suggest that the adaptation of agriculture, supposedly our most decisive step towards a better life, was in many ways a catastrophe from which we have never recovered. With agriculture cometh gross and social and sexual inequality, the disease and despotism that curse our existence. Jared Diamond. In the 80s, a personal trainer who goes by the name of Susan Powder said that now infamous "fat makes you fat," while this sounds very simple and rather catchy to say, 4 syllables that shut down all conversation around health. Except that's not true, is it? The human body has elegantly evolved to use fat as its fuel source. Our bodies don't store extra calories as carbs. Things are stored in our bodies as fat. If fat was so bad for us, why is it so essential? Carbohydrates have to get turned into other chemicals in order for them to be used as a fuel for our bodies. Turns out, fat doesn't make us fat, and that the food that has been touted as a staple of any good diet is the one responsible for obesity, heart disease, and many other metabolic diseases. Remember the food pyramid that you learned about in the school? What was the base and largest part of the pyramid? Carbohydrates, of course. The recommendations were that we should consume 6 to 11 servings of carbohydrates a day. 5 servings of fruit, 5 servings of vegetables, 3 servings of dairy, and 3 servings of protein. That is approximately 20 servings of carbohydrates a day for one person. While all the other food groups come with a serving recommendation, when it comes to fat, the only directive is to use sparingly. If the American Heart Association could have gotten away with it, fat would not even be included in our diets. But 3 decades of low-fat diets have only made people fatter, with over 66% of American adults being overweight. So clearly, this low-fat, high-carb approach has not been working for most Americans, and it hasn't been working for me either. I eat a low-fat diet and have exercised, and I still have not lost any weight. I've had to learn the hard way that you can't outrun a bad diet. The appropriately abbreviated Standard American Diet, SAD, has failed us all. Turns out what society has been telling us to run away from is what we should be running towards, and that is fat. How do I know this? Because there is a diet that has been around for more than a century that has shown that high fat is the way to go. Jim Abrahams was a famous actor whose son, Charlie, had debilitating seizures. He and his wife went from specialist to specialist trying to get Charlie's seizures to stop, but medication didn't help, and no one could give them assistance. Jim was very wealthy, so they did not spare any expense in seeking the top medical intervention available. It wasn't effective. Jim decided to do a deep dive into the literature that was available and came across something that no doctor had even brought up as a treatment possibility: diet. Turns out a ketogenic diet had been proven to cure seizures in some cases and ameliorate symptoms drastically in other cases. They immediately put the keto diet to the test, and in 2 days, Charlie's seizures stopped. It was so simple and yet so elegant. This was in 1993, and a young boy who was already on a path to progressive retardation is today a highly functioning man, cured of epilepsy. The Abrahams started the Charlie Abrahams Foundation to spread the news regarding the ketogenic diet and to help other people who are suffering from seizures. Some food for thought. How many diseases can we stave off by only changing our diet, and how much unnecessary weight can we prevent from being deposited onto our bodies? The 1980s was the fitness decade, and there were so many different ways to exercise and keep in shape, yet people were still obese. So the answer doesn't lie in exercise either. In this book, we explore the ketogenic diet to great lengths by first looking at the role insulin plays in our bodies, understanding what carbohydrates do within us and without us, and providing a sound, practical protocol on how to transition to keto without getting any adverse symptoms such as keto flu. We follow the story of fat, grains, carbohydrates, and sugar carbohydrates to understand how we get it so wrong, but also how it's served.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?